Some people believe that no one can possibly know the time of Christ's return. Well, this was true about 2,000 years ago when Jesus said that in Matthew 24:36. But this is no longer the case. People mistakenly believe this because they do not understand what the Bible is really about, and because of what Jesus said in Matthew 24:36 regarding the time of Christ's return. Matthew 24:36 says, "But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only." The first thing you need to understand here is that the Bible contains a timeline. The timeline tells us each time our creators, our God, have returned to planet Earth over the past 6,060 years. Our creators came to planet Earth about 6,060 years ago and created Adam, the very first human being. They returned 2,022 years and 2 months later at the great battle called the Slaughter of the Kings. You can read about that battle in Genesis 14:18 and in Hebrews chapter 7 and 8. Another 2,022 years and 2 months passed, and they returned again in the summer of 5 BC to create Jesus. Another 2,022 years and 2 months into the future puts their return during the Jewish holy day called the Feast of Trumpets in the fall of 2018. In Matthew 24:36, the reason that Jesus says no one knows the time of Christ's return is because at that point in time, about 2,000 years ago, it was a fact. Jesus was speaking in the present tense because at that point in time, the Bible, which contains the timeline and all the information that tells us when Christ will return, was not yet written. The Bible was not even created. It didn't exist. The Bible that we have today didn't exist until 1611, when King James I of England created the very first English language version of the Bible. You see, the original texts that became the Bible were written in Coptic Hebrew and in Greek. The New Testament was written in Greek, the Old Testament was written in Hebrew. Therefore, about 2,000 years ago, when Jesus said that no one knows the time of Christ's return in Matthew 24:36, at that point in time, almost 2,000 years ago, it was a fact. It was not possible for anyone to know when Christ would return because the Bible did not yet exist. Therefore, it wasn't possible for anyone to know when Christ would return because the Bible that we have today simply did not exist. Also, Christ was not yet manifest because he was still alive. Jesus did not become the Christ until he died on the cross and had been raised from the dead. So at that point in time, 2,000 years ago, when Jesus said that no man knows the time of Christ's return, the information that creates the timeline within the Bible did not exist. Now that's not the case. Now we have all the information that we need. We have the King James Bible, which does in fact contain a timeline that gives us all the information needed to determine approximately when Christ will return. During the life and time of Jesus, the Bible didn't exist. Therefore, when Jesus said that no man knows the time of Christ's return, it was true, because the Bible that we have today simply did not exist. Therefore, the timeline within the Bible that tells us when Christ will return didn't exist either. The timeline did not exist until the modern Bible was created in 1611 by King James I of England. If you want to know more about the Bible, you can order my new book, When the Bow Breaks, The Return of Christ, by emailing me at wtbb6066@gmail.com.